Hello and welcome. I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on a Kilt calculator, and I took a couple weeks off, so we'll have to kind of recover some context here. But whoops, let's get this out of. Okay. All right. Let's see. We left off on aprons and pleats, and well, let's just kick off a unit test, see where we left everything. So the notion of aprons and pleats is we build up a set of scenarios, like what happens if I say your hips are this size, and what happens if I make the apron a little wider here and a little narrower there, or whatever. And eventually that feeds over into the part we did a little earlier to calculate the pleats, but this will do it for now. Did that go? Oh, still testing. Also, I think I may have upgraded the compiler. Yeah, I guess. Let's see. It did finish the test. Let's run that again. See if it's a little faster this time. But you wouldn't expect it to interfere with the stream unless it really, I don't know, maybe it was really sucking up the CPU to do it. Now this is looking a little faster. Oh yeah. Okay, good. And I think we can just run this. Let's see if I can remember how I did this. Okay, I think we're back. I hope. All right. Well, this looks a little awkward. Where's my... Okay, I have to enter something. Okay, and I get a scenario. All right, yeah, I'm remembering now. Okay, I can get two scenarios going if I want to. Okay, so when you move the bar, you're dividing the total waste across either apron or pleats. And when you do things that are a little wrong, well, that's unfortunate. You get a message. Now I got to make sure this message can take the space. Well, okay. So where we left off, I guess, was there's a message if the apron width at the hips is greater than or equal to the apron width at the waist. You don't want them to be the same, or it doesn't have any taper to it. Okay. And we also prefer less than 4 inches between the waist and hip at the apron. And more. Well, I'm not sure what other ones. Oh, I think those are my presentations, my keynote. Okay, but we have other rules we need to enforce. So I know we need to get a number of rules in place. And the other thing I know is this is just being entered. We don't have a 0.5/8. We can type it because I have a keyboard. Oh, this is also awkward, isn't it? Well, something needs to scroll. Okay, ScrollView. Okay. We don't have a way to enter this on a real phone. Let's see. What is that? Toggle. Yeah, software keyboard. Okay. So yeah, we don't have our little slash symbol up there. Also, this is really annoying. 31.5. Well, I can type it, but yeah. Okay. A bunch of stuff. All right. My goal is once we get through the bulk of this one, which I think we're fairly close, we want to basically, I want to get it in shape and send it out to some friends of my wife for evaluation. So a little bit of a beta test. And maybe more. They may come back and say like, the apron pleat's not worth doing, or I don't get this or whatever. So I think getting to that point will be a nice milestone. All right. I don't think it's that hard, but I'm feeling fuzzy brained for having 2 weeks off here. Okay, so let's deal with the more visual stuff here. Let's get the scroll view working. Okay, now why am I not seeing it? Oh, there it is. Okay, good. So that scroll view, that's annoying, that it sits behind there like that. We also want to make warning messages wrap. Okay, that actually sounds like it should be a one-liner. Let's try that first. Okay, so where are these things coming from? Well, I don't remember. Okay, pleats. Apron pleats. Well, here's the view. Fold left in there. Yeah, let's go back to that. Okay, so if you have knife versus military plates, so the knife pleat. Well, let's make one. So we'll do 40, and let's make a 6-inch set. Okay, so the knife pleat, they're asymmetrical, but they always run them this way. So if you imagine swishing, sort of doing a flick your hips or a little rotate, one way doesn't do much and the other way does, and that's just part of the look thereafter for that. With the military pleats, let's cut this down so you can see it better. Again, what happens is because this side does, like the perfect box pleat, it goes halfway to the middle, and so equal swish, equal view into the deep part of the pleat. And remember, there's a pattern on it, so getting deep into it, you really do see some different colors popping out. So on the military box pleat, you get a little swish one way and a deep one the other way, and that's part of the look that they're after. I don't know if they're getting it both, because they get a little bit the other way makes it a little more attractive than the knife pleat, or or what's going on. But if I think of military box pleat, I mean, I suspect it's it's when they're outfitting either military units or pipe bands, and they're there for show, at least the pipe bands, and do that. Yeah, so the pleats, the full size, I mean, the bigger pleat is always on the right as you're looking at it from the bottom, I believe. I've gotten flipped before, but I'm pretty sure this is the right profile view. And similarly for the knife, I'm seeing the part you see by default is sort of this stretch here, and then the part that shows up when you swish is the part folded under. Okay. All right. Let's see. So somewhere we have let me go back to this one. Okay, we have the measurement table. That's up top. These tables almost could use some. Yeah. All right. And then the scenarios for each scenario. Get a scenario view. Okay. Scenario view has the rows, row, hips, same thing. And then the warnings for each text, foreground color. Okay. And then I think there's just a multi-line. Leading. I think. Nope. Oh, the alignment is implied. Okay. Without waiting. I'd actually like this at the top if there's a way to do that. Well, maybe the scroll view is going to make that kind of moot. Okay, let's put one in. 40, 38. Get a message. Oh, why do I not wrap? That's the red, so that's that. Okay, let me get a window here. Oh, maybe I don't allow enough space. Oh, I don't need a line limit. Oh. Okay. Did I? Well, I didn't give them any font. I don't know what my default font is here. Font holds line attributes. Well, let's try that line limit nil. I think we can do this on a preview. I don't know if our preview gets an error. Yeah, probably not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to say there's a max height. I just wanted to say how much it needs. I mean, I don't think anything's going to be bigger than 2 lines, but yeah, first time I ran a preview too, so it's slow there. Let's see what else we got. I mean, frame. Line limit L versus any number. Okay. Fixed size horizontal, false vertical, true. That's. Yeah, that's not good. All right. Oh, so slow. Nope. There. Okay. This is. Oh, it's just a scenario view. Okay. Well, okay, but it's not helpful. All right, multi-line. Well, let's try this. Oops, that's UI label. Okay, font, maybe the frame width? Well, I thought it would be implicitly limited by the outer box, honestly. Well, let's make this radically small. Okay, so when I ran this, why couldn't I get that message? All right, that should have put the message in. I just don't know if I'm getting selectable variants live. Well, it's live, so it should have done that. I don't know. So, well, let's try putting a font on too, I guess. Moving it down will help. Changing two things so I won't know what I did. Okay, flame with a 100 is not helping. All right. Or it's not wrapping. So what does he do? Font, multi-line, and then frame. Well, I thought somebody said that the fixed size would false vertical true. Yeah, it does sound backwards. I thought they were saying it would make it grow outside even the parent box. Okay, I'm going to take this out. Let's try it though. Oh, it was the line limit. Okay. Ugh. Horizontal false. That does seem backward. Huh. Oh, there's my line limit kicking in. And it does grow the box it's in. That's weird. So I feel like that artifact is coming from that. Let's take this one out. Yeah, it really seems weird to say don't make it fixed horizontally and then it. Okay, now what's going on? I don't know. I'm going to flip them in a minute here and see if it makes any more sense. It's like it's growing the parent box to force this to be wide. I don't want to get into geometry and all that. It shouldn't be needed. Okay, that doesn't seem to change anything. Let's try true, false. All right, let's see if this is. Why is it not acting different? And these boxes need some distinction. I don't know if a color change or what would be the right. Okay, why? Okay, I can't get multi-line messages with this. I don't know, there's something about the. What if I just say fix size? Yeah, I don't like what it's doing. Well, his he doesn't. He just does the frame width. Let's go back to that. I don't like putting the fixed size in there, but just to understand what's going on would help. Like if I put measure in here and scenario in here, maybe that would be clarifying. Okay, well, that doesn't do it. Let's put this back. It didn't bust the width anyway. Just for variety, we'll see what that's doing. I don't like these. Well, I don't understand why my preview didn't do the. No, they're not wrapping. He does font, multi-line, and frame. Font, multi-line, frame. So is it something about this? But it's a VStack. It shouldn't care. Okay, let's see if we can find another example or something. Well, then back to line limit, minimum scale factor. Yeah, this is playing with the fact that it shrinks it. Maybe that goes before. Swift UI text not wrapping. Horizontal false, vertical true. Oh, complex following step prevents wrapping. Well, we tried this one. Horizontal false, vertical true. Which may not be. Not do its custom resizing horizontal logic. Okay. I don't know. I feel like I'm reconstructing everything we've done. Horizontal false, vertical true. Gosh, it just sounds so backwards. And that's the thing that's making our parent thing blow up. Let me change that. Maybe I just picked a size that would force it wider. We'll do a kid for a change here. No. VStack, where's the whole box? Grid, VStack. Padding and border. Right. Why does the padding go away? Wrap the parent in a frame that doesn't grow. Well, the thing is, I mean, you might get multiple warnings. They're all, you can screw up multiple things, at least once we get all the rest of the warnings in. Gosh, I thought this was like, oh, just put multi-line text alignment and it'll all work. And here we are, 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later. Okay. Why? Okay, I always have to think these things through because it just doesn't hit my intuition. But there's this deal where, like, to get the size of something, the parent proposes a size and the inner thing chooses a size, and it's supposed to take the parent's request into account, but in the end it does what it wants. Yeah, it should just work. Nobody ever said that one before. So when this thing comes in and says fixed size, it's really, maybe I should actually read what fixed size says. Okay, let's try that. Fixes at its ideal size. So I think ideal size is trying to take any space it can get. Okay, let's see what they say. Each view proposes a size to each child view. If the child view doesn't need a fixed size, it accepts the parent's offer. Okay, a text placed in an explicit frame wraps and truncates. Right, we don't want this. So I don't think fixed size is really the right thing, but maybe we need to just put a frame. You would think a frame without that would force this. Okay, let's try the fixed size earlier up. I don't think this has made any difference. Okay, so horizontal false. Yeah, horizontal. Fix the width of the view. If you horizontally fix it, you're telling it to maintain its ideal width, which I think is like as long as the text is. Okay, so horizontal false. But I don't want to exceed things vertically either. I just don't think it's... Okay, I guess fixed size horizontal says make the text the fixed size. It doesn't care about the parent view. Vertical says let it expand. I guess because of this maybe, or just something it's not. Okay, let's try this combo. Yeah, this interaction with ideal size, and I think the ideal size of a text is like as long as it is stretched out in one big text. Now, Something's going on. Okay, like my padding is gone. I just think it's a troublemaker. Let's try this Swift UI. Get text to wrap. Yeah, wrap is a little overloaded, isn't it? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, let's go minimal again. We'll take out those two. Frame, that should make that. I mean, I guess I'm not complaining. The frame is 250. The question is, why did this padding get deleted? There's nothing. Okay, we have a divider, which I don't happen to see. Oh, I guess that's that light gray line there. Okay. And then a bunch of text. Why are you problematic? All right, let's try this combo. Well, I did put. I don't know the answer. which text I'm using, which font. I mean, it's inherited from something above. Okay, both title and headline. Doesn't like to be. Okay, let's go back to making it explicitly body font, which certainly seems like it should want to be wrapped. Let's try a question like that. Wrapping, let's see, Swift UI. Wrapping text makes parent lose padding. Wait, his first one gets longer message, title padding, frame. This line, where's this line? Okay, verbatim may be a problem, they say. This line should not get truncated. I don't see how this code generates that. Blah, blah, blah. Do you want to delete them? They can be... No, something's not. All right, let's take out... No, padding and border, that seems okay. It's this padding that's not getting done. Yeah, the fixed size breaks the padding. Okay, let's make sure. I'll run it again. So we got the font and no line limit, just fixed size and a frame. I'm going to take the frame out in a second here. And the frame makes this box, apparently makes it 250, because when we made it 100, it was shrinking it. So it does control that box size. Maybe I'm interfering with it by doing that. Apparently not. Now what's going on here? Why would that change? Yeah, those should really be. Well, this is, I don't know, vertically it looks pretty close, but I think it's a little smaller than the one above. All right, I'm going to take... Let's... Wait a minute. The grid... I'm not putting anything on the grid. Let's put... Yeah, the fixed size definitely seems to be the problem. Also part of the solution, so that's the... okay, so what's weird here? The gray box is bigger. Now, wait a minute. Okay, so that's this padding is making the... It's putting padding on the outside. Okay, I'm going to take this out. It may not be visually necessary even. Well, okay, it's... I would call it acceptable, except I'm not sure it's really wrapping. Let's put... Where's the V stack? Okay, I won't keep that. I just want to see if it changes the situation. Right. Now what are you going to do? Well, that's perfectly acceptable. And I'll bet you if I put this padding back, and I don't know if I really need the box. I think that I probably should put some periods in. Oh no, it does screw it up. So I think padding is causing the white space. And that's blowing out the bigger box. Whoops. We only need some padding. It's just the length of the page that's going, okay. Pleat should be bigger than everyone. Let's. Oh, the padding's on the inside? No. Padding is before the border. Maybe that's all 8 looks like. 8. Or 4 looks like. I'm not sure what advantage I get from that little bit of. I mean, that's okay. Why is this box? Well, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I'm padding. What am I padding? Oh, I'm padding the whole thing. Okay, you're right. That's the. So I was going to have all the warnings in one box, but is that wrong? So the padding is on the V stack, each individual thing. I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's making more room inside the box, leaving more space around these things, right? Because if I take it out, it really crowded it. Okay. So I mean, my intent was to get all the warnings in the box, but I'm not sure that matters. It doesn't matter enough, put it that way. Let's take this stuff out. Let's take this out. Padding 6. I'm going to leave these. I mean, really, I care about this. Okay. And then let's go to scenarios. I mean, I can. All right. Okay, let's change this to the real size, even though it makes that. Magistrate test probably doesn't hurt at this point. Shouldn't matter. Okay, margin on the parent box. Yeah, I think what I can do is maybe move the color out to here. Instead, put a color around the whole box and not fool with the sizing of it. And then I can get by without that at all. And these things should maybe be bullet points. I don't know. Okay. Well, even 350, 300. But I think if I take this out, everything is going to fall apart. Which I don't really want. I mean, I like it like this. Ooh, that's still okay. Okay. Well, let's take this frame out. Let's move this. Well, let's try and do it clean if we can. No, we can't. Okay. Let's make a method on here then. Yeah, let's make it a var. Put it up here. Scenario is this. All right, let's make this use that. Has warnings. Okay. Now I'm going to take this is scenario dot has warnings yes dot red else dot black width of 2. I'll take this one off. I think I like this result just as well. Yeah, I think that's all right. There's no wrapping because the wider frame width doesn't require it, but I like that. Now this padding 6, I think that's causing that distance there. Let's take that out. It's not really doing anything. Oh, now we have this fixed sized. All right, let's do that. Okay. I think this will be acceptable. I don't know how hard the next step will be. All right. Now we'll put in a big message and see what it does. If pleat is less than apron. Oh, two different ones. What are we looking at? A waist. Okay. Yeah, it's just the vertical size. All right, I like that. Fine. We'll throw in a few more just to see what happens with 3 lines. Because I just don't want to worry about them. Okay, I like it. Alrighty. Apron at waist. And I'm going to put this, we got a couple tests that are checking it. But I think it'll look nicer as actual sentences if we have multiples of them. 2 tests should fail. Yep. Okay, so we're here. All right. Make error messages wrap and mark whole box with a red border if there are warnings. Yeah, let's do that too. Okay, so scenario split. Okay, they are they're not left aligned. Well, not consistently left aligned. All right, let's deal with that. That's my multi-line text alignment thing that I took out. No, it is not. Why? Why is that coming out? It's just so weird. Oh, but these are centered too, aren't they? Huh. And maybe this one is too. I forget, do I get alignment leading? Well, something about the padding on that V stack. I don't think I know exactly why it's not, unfortunately. The fixed size definitely was a key factor in making it do that. So fixed size false horizontal says don't force my ideal size, use the parent. Okay, so this seems good. All right, so maybe this is not doing anything. I think we'll trim a little more here. I think the padding was forcing the width of the whole V stack to be too wide, and that's why it was messing up horizontally. Yeah, I probably should have if I'd known I was going to type it 40 times, but thank you. Yeah, I saw you signed up the other day or yesterday or something, but Bree 128, welcome. Okay, so that's okay without the multi-line. I think it's also okay without the body. So all that's left is the fixed size that seems to be doing anything about it. Make you watch one more time. It's only very large. Okay, I'm happy enough. Let's take the extras out. What was the warning? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So what we did was we made error messages left justified. Okay. Well, to do. Okay, make morning messages wrap. I guess left justified. We've done that at least. Okay. Now, the other thing I'm looking at is I think more differentiation in these two tables. And this one is a measure and this one's a scenario. Let's see if we can get that in the views for them. Okay, so I think scenario view owns this one. Right. Okay, so I'm saying the text should be scenario. I don't know. If it should be the whole table or just that corner. And then what sets the background of that? Not seeing it here. Okay. So maybe in here. Background thin material padding. Is it ultra? At least I can change the shading a little. Apparently not. Okay, well, the word scenario there. I don't even like it in there, I think. All right, this was a waste, and this one can go back. Okay, so scenario view, I put the word scenario. I think I want it up here. Headline? Title. Oh, I can just preview. It's a little much. That's a little lighter. Okay. And then the other one is the measurements. Put that in a V stack. Ugh. Where that gray is coming from. Okay, he's thin material, but he's looking at something else. Or is it even a scenario view? Like, should it be part of the view to say the title of the view? Let's pull it up and gosh, I don't know. We didn't do much on the coloring and style here, and I'm not liking what I have anyway. Okay, that can go. Apron plate view. Measurement table. Oh. Okay. I'm thinking a divider here too. balance or proportion. I don't know what they even call these. Oh, they call them splits. Yeah. All right. Let's do that. Okay, and that's going to show up once. We got a little extra space there with a very gray divider. Plate should be bigger than apron at hips. Yes, that's true. Okay. I think splits. All right. Okay, what else? Scroll view. Okay. I think let's take a break. We'll come back, and I want to try and get this, like we saw overlaps. If I create more, like, that's ugly. And it's not scrollable, so I can't do anything with it. Oh, and I've got splits multiple times. I still do. Oh. Okay, let's see if I can fix that real quick. It's not on here. No, it's in the for each. Wasn't supposed to be there. Okay, anyway, we'll come back and address this not being scrollable and so not being useful, and also overlapping that. I thought that was supposed to slide out of the way or something, but maybe I'm doing it wrong. All right. Okay, so let's take a break, 3 or 4 minutes. We'll come back, get this vertical scrolling right, and then we'll move into more scenario guidelines that we're trying to enforce. So I think we're getting there. Draw the shapes. I don't know. Maybe I don't care. Button to send. We do care. Okay, so back in a few minutes. All right, welcome back. Okay, so our goal is let's make, well, I don't know if it's a problem if it, well, what's going on there? Okay, so this is a navigation view, and the title is Apron Pleat Splits. My thought was, I thought it would go out of the way as stuff put pressure on it. So I think we got this VStack that's everything. So it's the measurements and the splits. And so it should, I think we can just stick it in a scroll view. Of course, that word just gets you. Okay, and this is toolbar on the bottom. Okay, so toolbar, sorry, it's the primary action, it's the plus, that's that one. I think we want to keep that on the outside, although I don't know that it really matters. All right, let's see what that does. Yeah, that's what I expected. So as you push it up, it pops up there and keeps your stuff behind it. Make sure we can give each one of these a different situation. Okay. Well, I guess I wasn't very good at picking the easy one. Okay. Let's clear these. Where's the other one? Okay. Well, let's rebuild. Bad enough to complain, but to complain about the ones that aren't even there is just really, really obnoxious. Okay, let me do a rebuild. Clear the issues. Clean the build folder. And run tests. And I think this navigation thing with the navigation title doing that, I mean, I think that's sort of the intended use for that. I don't know what the problem is, but we're not going to worry about it. It's either Xcode or SwiftLint. ScrollView on Apron Pleat. Okay, well, let's get back to something more mechanical or less visual. Okay, and I think I'll pull this back, recall these rules. Okay, less than 3 to 4 inches between waist and hip in the apron. Apron width at waist less than hips. We've done that one. Choose a hip split at most 1 inch bigger in the pleat than the apron unless the person has prominent buttocks. Don't use a half and half split even if the hip and waist are identical. Double check that apron plus pleats does add up for waist and hips. Well, we don't have to double check that because we guarantee it. Make sure that's true. But yeah, the waist, I mean, we're basically splitting how much do you take from one and give to the other. So that scenario is always accurate. 1 inch more in pleat hips than apron hips for prominent tummy. Have equal waist split. Okay, I'm not. I think we can. That's the one we said to do next. Apron width at hips greater than equal to apron width at waist. Apron width at hips is 22. Should be greater than equal to apron width at waist. I guess this is kind of a corresponding rule at the hip level. Yeah, on the hip. And what was the one we did? Pleat should be bigger than apron at hips. Okay. Apron width at hips should be greater than apron width at waist. If I can get it. Okay, this apron width at hips is greater than apron width at waist. Okay, we're messing up all kinds of things with this poor person. Okay, apron width at hips. Okay, well, apron width at hips should be greater than apron width at waist. Okay, and it's not 22, 23 and a quarter. Okay, so that's a rule we want to do. Okay, that was scenario splits, I think. Yeah. Okay. Pleats, and we need a new test. Okay, test if, what's our rule? Apron width at hips greater than apron width at waist. Or apron is smaller at hip, smaller than at waist. Is that a warning? Apron width at hips greater or equal is okay. Smaller is not. Apron width at hips is smaller than, let's be explicit, apron at waist. Okay, so apron width at hip. Well, let's just make this person like that. Okay, so the default will be 16 apron, 16 at waist, and 15 at hips. Okay, apron at hip is smaller than waist, so we don't like it. All right, so we don't have to give anything. Losing my thing. Apron width at hips should be greater than apron width at waist. Apron should be bigger at hip than at waist. Okay. This should fail. Nobody has that message. Oh, I know how to trick this thing. Okay, we get no warning. Yeah. All right. So we have a scenario split. And we want to get a warning if say it again. If hips is less than apron. Sorry, if hips less apron width at hips is less than apron width at waist. Apron width at hips is less than apron width at waist. Then we want this message. Well, actually, its apron should be. Okay, and the message is wrong now. Should be at least as big as apron at waist. And we were plural pretty much everywhere, so let's keep that up down. Okay, and just fooling Swift Lent. Okay, don't warn if apron at hip equals. Okay, those tests should just pass. This, where was the other one? Lost track now. Okay, that's good. Right, that's the one. Okay, so we warn if apron at hips is smaller than apron at waist. I'm going to say it the other way around. Okay. The guideline. Prefer. Okay, we got this one done. Let me just indicate that. Apron width at waist. Okay, 3 to 4 inches difference between waist and hip in the apron. I think we'll say less than or equal, just to kind of let's say. Okay, waist and hip in the apron. Okay, another scenario. Yeah, these are lets as well. Well, let's make some with a very 24. It's got to be pretty big to get 4 inches, right? It's got to be 8 inches. So let's do this. That's only 6, isn't it? Oh, halved. It will be. Okay. I guess 34 would be 5 still. Okay. 10 inches divided by 2, because we split, is 5. So that'll be too big. I guess we could do the exact 4 inches is 8, so 24 is 32. Let's make it 32.1 or something. Okay, and then worn if, how do we say it? Waist and hip and apron. If worn if, I'll just say too much difference between waist and hip and apron. Okay, so 24, 32.1. And we're going to say something about, I'll say add apron, but this is close. Prefer different, prefer less than or equal to 4. Just difference. That doesn't quite make sense. Maybe this is better like that. Prefer at most 4-inch difference between waist and hip in the apron. I think that sounds okay. Okay. And this will not complain. Okay. Yep. And let's don't warn if at max difference between waist and hip and apron. Okay, so this is this one. 8-inch difference becomes 4 inches, so at most this should not warn. Okay. And I think we can, well, no, let's put the other case too. if, I'll say little. Yeah. Waist and hips is small enough. Okay, so that's 7 inches divided by 2 is 3.5, so that's well under. Okay, now we should have 2 passing and 1 failing. Good. All right. And the rule. Okay. All right. So difference between waist and hip at apron. Okay. So if the absolute value of self dot hips at apron self dot waist apron, if that is less than or equal to 4, it's a little bit arbitrary. Let's call it max apron difference. I guess this is, if it's greater than max apron difference, then we get a warning. Do that. Okay. Whoops. I think I can probably say 4.0. It should pass. Good. Yeah, are they possible with sliders? Yeah. I mean, you got to start from basically. I mean, take a woman with a strong, figure 8 kind of situation. Her waist is pretty thin. Her hips are pretty relatively broader. I mean, it's only going to happen for somebody who's already like they have to have 8 inches difference in those, right? So it's got to be a noticeable curve there. Let's run it and just set up some scenarios. Okay, so if the waist is 20 and the hips are 30, okay. So the default setup is gonna do that. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Let's see. So well, let's see. So if we it may be hard to do. In most 4 inches difference. Okay, so that's getting bigger. So yeah, pleat should be bigger than apron at waist. Pleat should be bigger than apron. Okay, so we want this. Pleats are I guess equals okay. Yeah, so we have this. If I get on this end of things, it's okay. But it's a tricky situation. I mean, this is somebody who's, um, I mean, you can almost put your hands on the difference, between those, which it certainly is. It's not a new, impossible body type or anything. But I mean, in older days, and there's still people around that kind of prefer it that way. Women would not wear kilts; only men would wear kilts, and you had less likelihood of this kind of problem being quite. I mean, men as we age, tend to get more of a beer belly than too skinny, in the waist kind of situation. So, yeah, but and because it's a split, right? 4 inches difference really means you got to have a gap of 8 inches plus. Okay, so here we got a 10-inch gap, and we can just kind of barely make it pull off. It may be that we need to worry about the range more. And that's one of the things I'm hoping the real kilters can tell me. I should dig out the book my wife uses for the most part. I think maybe it's her main book for that anyway. They have a chapter or a little appendix of like 2 or 3 pages of scenarios, and I should see if we should run through each of those scenarios and see what we can do. That would probably be a very good test of this in the sort of customer level testing sense of things. Okay. Yeah, now this would look better. I suspect there's a better way to do this, but a list with a section? We'll have to think on that. Okay, let me add that to my list of all right, I think we've done this one though. All right, and more. So I'm not. Okay, this one's done. We don't get into this. I mean, that's sort of an assessment they're making. Don't use a half and half split if waist and hip are identical. Okay, what else? Maybe we'll do that one. Try for a 1 inch. So usually try is just kind of like one of these fuzzy rules. It's a legit rule. Now this may be one of these. If the waist is big, I don't know what a large difference is. Have 1.5 to 2.25 inch more in pleats than apron. I don't know if that's a role we can handle or not. I'm not sure about this one. Don't use a half and halves. If waist and hip. I'm not sure what we do now. Let's make them identical. 20. Okay, yeah, we should get a warning for this. We got the pleats are equal. We'd be better off with Apron at hip should be at least as big as apron at waist. Well, this may be a sort of impossible situation. There we go. Okay. But this is backwards. We really prefer the pleats to be bigger at the hips than the waist. Apron at hips. Yeah, there's maybe no way to do this. Apron at hips should be at least as big as apron at waist. But if yeah, we're kind of asking for both to be bigger, and that's not really possible if they're equal. I'm gonna have to talk to somebody on this one. Okay. So, I mean, it's a real reasonable rule, and we've definitely had this situation come up. I mean, she basically just gives a little more to the hips and a little less, or yeah, a little more to the hips and a little less to the waist. And maybe the apron suffers, or, you may not be able to satisfy all constraints, okay, for a given body type. And that's probably just realistic. It's like you're going to have a tricky situation like this, with the waist and hips equal. I can't make the pleats bigger than the waist, the hips bigger than the waist at the pleats without making the hips smaller than the waist at the apron, because they were perfectly equal. But that may be, the real rule is, well, you really do want the pleats to be bigger. I mean, you want that, sort of slightly A-shaped kind of thing from the rear view. Don't know how they settle on that, but that's definitely a constraint. And they will, well, the other thing you can do is they might change your effective measurements and make your hip be 10 and a quarter or something like that. I don't know if it's a warning in the measurements. I mean, the measurement is the measurement. The thing we did in the measurements is the ideal. So let's see, if this is 19, notice the ideal is still 20, and this is what you're working with and splitting on, right? Because this is that. So if your hips are naturally smaller than your waist, we puff them out. Okay. And that might even involve padding, at your hip level, my wife says, give you a fake butt, I guess there are undergarments that are designed to do that. And this is an outer garment designed to do that. You're a little shallow in the butt, and let's puff it out a little bit so we get a decent look. It improves your look, basically. Yeah, so I'm going to consult on that one. And I think what it'll be, yeah, it's, okay, so they're saying do a little more in the hips and a little less in the waist. Yeah, so that might be an acceptable, actually even just 10 is probably acceptable. You're playing with it, and when you get into this screen, you might decide, it would just be better for everybody if that hip were a quarter inch or a half inch bigger. And you might come back and say, well, I'm going to make it be 20 and a half. And then I don't have this problem. They're not equal anymore. And so I can make the waist slightly bigger, and at both sides. Okay. It doesn't have to be much. I mean, it's. I've definitely seen her make ones that are. I don't know if you want to say it's a skosh, but it's an eighth of an inch or so. Maybe even on the short side of an eighth of an inch. Just a teeny bit. Just to kind of give it a little tiny bend. And it's still better than straight up and down, and it's it's not dramatic, but it's a little bit. It's but there's a wide range of body types and shapes and all that stuff. Some of them are going to look, unfortunately, if you have my shape, you can go look and say, well, there are definitely people who are going to look better in a suit or better in a kilt than me. Little too much in the stomach there. And there may just be no great way, you may not have the body shape that makes a good looking kilt, and they'll fake it to whatever extent they can, put the padding in the hips, and put a little fake amount of bend in it and stuff like that. Anything to kind of make it a little bit, just that little touch. And partly, you're getting a handmade kilt, you're going to want those little extra touches. If it's just kind of off the rack, you may not worry about it so much, but you do want them. They do make it look better, and that. Okay, let's see. So I will definitely do a consultation on that, and but there is this artificial process of doing this, coming up with a guess, going over here, looking at your pleats and sets and all that stuff, and saying, it's like we had that adjusted hip size, right? Let's make up a situation with an adjusted hip size. Hips are 20. Unless you're doing this, can I get one that will force it? Go the other way. No. 20. Let's take a prime number. 23. Okay. Well, I don't know how you get those. Okay, well, there's one. No one's going to want 3 pleats. I imagine 10's probably a likely minimum. Did I miss one? Oh. Yeah, there's a little skosh thing going on there. You just wouldn't even know the difference. Okay, let's do 6 1/8. I don't see it happening. Not until you get down to a weird case. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll go through those scenarios sometime. Probably, maybe tomorrow. I'll get organized, and see if we can come up with one that forces you to do something. I mean, this is not an acceptable look. It's no real box pleat at all. That gap should be like 1/4 inch is big. 3/8 is very marginal. Can you force a box pleat? Well, sort of. I mean, what happens is if you can't really get a military box pleat with the gap on this side, right? But like the more pleats you put in, the more space you've got to the fabric. You got extra fabric compared to a regular box pleat. And where's that fabric going to go? Well, it's going to go, you can split it equally while it's not too much, but once it gets more than half, it's going to go all on the one side, and become a military box pleat. Can you force a box pleat? Well, I mean, they can always choose a knife pleat, but if you, let's get a military. So there's sort of a line, like if the gap is small enough, we'll call it a box plate with overlap, even though it kind of is the same as a military box plate. And at some point, the gap is going away. Well, there's no perfect one because we've got a prime here. 16-inch gap, no one's going to worry about. Okay. I mean, admittedly, between, if you have 20 pleats at that, you'll notice, I guess 11 sixteenths is a better part of an inch. You'll have to adjust somewhere to make that happen, like our scotias here. But it's just not going to be a big noticeable thing. Okay. All right, so guideline analysis. Button to keep scenario. Drawing the kilt shapes. I don't think they care enough. I don't know. It didn't sound like oh my gosh, I gotta have this amazing picture. Should kilt measures be a struct? Well, let's look at that. Kilt measures. It's a class now. Let's see who's using these. I think they're just in measure, right? Measurement table. That's a bigger question than I can answer in 20 minutes. All right, let's see what we've changed, if anything. Okay, not much. All right. I don't want to tackle something that's just too big. Let's take a look at this. I don't know if they mentioned sections. That's kind of what I'm looking for. No. Oh. Well, that would be kind of okay. Let's see. They use sections? Yeah. A list. I don't have selection. Let's try it. Okay. Well, let's put these in. Okay, so the overlap makes the adjustment of hip happen less often. Yeah. Yeah, so most of the time, I mean, you want it to match their measurements if possible. And so these, you know, if the gap isn't too big, you'd say, okay. If it's a little tiny overlap, it won't matter enough. I mean, it gets pressed, but they're in motion, and the overlap is just not that significant looking or anything. So yeah, most of the time there's some amount of adjustment from that, and then once in a while you have to do these more drastic things. Somebody with perfect, I mean, the beanpole look, right? Perfectly straight up and down. I mean, they're gonna have some trouble anyway, right? because I mean I've been there at various points. It's your pants won't stay up if they're not. There's nothing to go in on the waist. If your hips are a little bigger, it's easier to keep your pants up. If you're Humpty Dumpty, and your waist is everything, you kind of have to cinch down to the waist and ignore the hips, kind of thing. So yeah, so I mean, I don't even know. Like, I don't know if my wife has ever made a kilt where she had to put the padding in. I know she's come close a couple times, but I don't think she's ever really had to do it. So, it's pretty uncommon. But it just depends. I mean, you could get people that needed it. Yeah. All right. Let's go back to Apron Pleat view. Okay, so instead of a stack, why is this a list? I mean, I feel like I may be making this worse than it is. Okay, let's just try it. List. Okay. And let's take a look. Now I'm going to put that plain style on. Yeah. Apron pleat. Okay. It does not like a list. Okay. Because I think it's a list of nothing. Okay, so I don't know. Let's try another search. Swift UI list with constant elements. I don't know if we can say it that way. Well, it already didn't seem to do it, right? And if I give it a list over these scenarios, like, why would it put in this stuff? We could, oh, it's not selection. Maybe it's just not the right tool. I think what I can do is work on these titles. Let's try that. I don't know, built-in font isn't going to be right. I don't know what they call them. Well, we can just run through the choices, right? And this preview might actually be a good thing here. Okay. Well, it's not body, call out. Caption doesn't even make sense. Footnote headline. Self a font. I don't know what that would do. Yeah. Yeah, I think where we were is better. All right. Well, I'm going to let that one go. I don't think I have a net change here. No. Okay. I don't particularly like this gray being the same still, though. But I don't know where that's coming from. It's weird because, well, where's content to you? Right, so here's the tabs. We got this decorative background image I use by default. Excuse me. Yeah, should the list be the splits? Well, I don't think that's gonna solve the reason I want that in there is to separate out these two sections of the list. If it had, yeah, I don't know. I may have to get. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, there's some other. Is there some other thing that lets you do like sections? Maybe I should search on that. Maybe just maybe VStack or even list picker and form. Okay. Each section has custom content. You can provide headers and footers. Well, I don't want to call it a form because that just kind of is misleading. Yeah, instances like, can you just tell me what they are? And let's check parent content footer. Table row content. Empty view. Well, I guess there's things that have pseudo table rows. Well, I can try putting it in and seeing what happens, but I don't think it's going to work. What does that do? Makes it angry. Oh, I'm supposed to put this around the whole thing. Well, I can't see that's doing much for me. Text. I mean, if I did small caps, that's kind of a style. Defined on font may not be used in this. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's all right. Font whatever dot small caps. That's all right. Let's put that down on the other one too. Yeah, I think that's getting there. Okay. Um, yeah, scrolling. Okay. Let's see what else. And I'll just say no. Should Kilt measures be a struct? That might be an interesting refactoring, but it's definitely a change in things. But to send hip info to Pleat designer. Oh, I was supposed to ask that. Okay, how the waist hip measures carried over to the Pleat. Yeah, I mean the Pleat really just uses the hips is all we're doing there. It may be that they use both. The hip controls it. Yeah, I mean, my wife thought like if you had five, they would probably never add another one. It would be nice in a way. I mean, I would love this to be a little tighter because like when they do them, they just draw little tiny tables, which is the well, they do A P W H and just fit the numbers in. There's not much else, and you know, they take probably a quarter or a third of the size of these. But we do have this that they don't have to, if they choose this number, they don't have to calculate this one or any of that stuff, which I think is an advantage and maybe worth the space cost. Yeah, unless you could fit two into the horizontal space. If you could fit two, that might be worth it. And then this slider would have to be smaller and harder to use. I think realistically on a phone, unless you got one of those bigger ones, um, I think this is probably as small as we'll get it. And really, a lot of times they're just going to use one and just play with it till they get something good sounding. All right. Okay, we'll come back to this one. The button, I think we'll save that one too. I'm going to defer that to keep scenario to send it to Pleat designer. That's kind of the same thing. Yeah, I think the answer is going to be on this hip waist thing. I think they'll calculate this, and then I think they'll just take the waist and divide it by this, and that's the answer, kind of thing. We may be able to do that. Can you hide the sliders when not selected? Oh, so only like how will I know it's active? I mean, we could maybe invent something that when you press the number, it pops up the slider or something like that. I mean, it could be a dividing bar. It's unfortunate you don't have much control over the UI. I mean, the Swift UI slider. You can change the color. We did. I think that's their green, if I'm seeing it right. You can change the color of the track, and I don't know if you can even change this color. It's very limited. Um, I'll have to see on that. That help. I mean, it might, well, it would shrink the space if you just did it between them, though. But I could see just dragging this over. Is this intuitive or backwards? If I do this, I'm making the pleat bigger. I don't know. This may be feeling backwards. What it's controlling is how much gets taken from the left and given to the right. And here's 0. And as it goes up, it did feel backwards to me to use it. So maybe we'll look at that too. I'll put a question in. Are sliders backwards? I think it would be more natural if this went down as I squeezed it left, and then the visual would be the pleats get this much and the apron gets this much. Instead, it's kind of backwards to that. All right. Let's see what we can do there. Scenario split. Right. Can I just change the sign? No. I think, yeah. Okay, no. That's the quick answer. All right. The question is, what do we do with them? Okay, so $0. Hip split. Yeah, that definitely feels more natural. The less stuff on this side. Okay, is this too weird? Well, maybe if it's give apron. Hmm. I don't. It really seems like it should be give, either take from pleat or give apron that much. If you give apron -2, you're taking from it rather than -2. What would be better? I'm going to do this, take that off those. Oops. And then see what tests break, because we're going to have to negate a bunch of tests. Or at least a few. Yep. Give Pleat. Give Pleat. Okay. So it's not give Pleat. It's really now remove Pleat or give Apron. I'm going to say it's give. Give Apron, and then Pleat steals. Well, let's make sure this works. Okay, so tests were green. Okay. And then we'll come back to this thing and refactor that tomorrow. All right. Well, we got a few things done. Yeah, I think we'll make that Apron steals instead of Pleat steals and go through all the negations and whatnot tomorrow. But I'm happy we got a few more rules in. I've got a few things to check from the domain expert point of view, and we got the scrolling and some of the looks better for sure. So I think we're closing in. The other one, one more thing I want to add. We need to be able to accept fractions on measurements. Okay, we don't do that now. And I think that's actually probably at least as important as some of these others. All right, we may add this button to kind of populate the Pleat designer. We may tackle this if we feel like we're on track. I'm traveling again when I'm leaving Wednesday, so I won't do a session then. So really, we have tomorrow. If we got these two things done, even without them, I'm ready to send this on to my other tester group. And if we do, yeah, I probably will send it regardless, or maybe do a little stuff off camera just to happen if I get a chance before I leave. But I want to get these two things done tomorrow, and hopefully the button. And if we have time, we'll look at the refactoring. All right. Well, thanks for joining today. Good to see you after a couple of weeks here, and take care. I'll see you tomorrow, 2 to 4:30 Eastern, 6 to 8:30 p.m. UTC. Bye-bye.